What up, guys? Hope you are good. We are back again with another market analysis session. So, without wasting any time, I'm gonna start with get JPY. I'm even gonna start on a weekly time frame because there is indeed a story to tell from that time frame, even going down. So, with this one, as you can see, that price has been bullish for quite some time up until it failed to break above and broke this low and created a new low. Then this was a lower high. Price broke, created a new lower low, and from there it went up to break above our recent lower high. So then now on weekly, what we can say is that we are quite very bullish, I meant to say. So also, if I can start just labeling those highs, then drop before dropping down to daily. And the very same highs, I do believe that on daily are my possible reaction zones that have not been tested as of yet, and we're anticipating that as price keeps on going to the top, that it will test those two zones, and it could possibly test more to the upside. But for now, these are the only two zones that we are looking at. I think the first one is on about 100 and something, 122 pips or 120 pips. Let me just check. 126 pips, and the second one is 320 pips. But for now, that's okay. So even on daily, as you can see, that price has been quite bullish after we broke this weekly lower high. As you can see, we created a new daily higher low, higher high, higher low, and in fact another higher low, higher high, then higher low, and another higher high, higher low, and that's where we currently are. I'm just gonna remove everything and clear out and leave it as clean as possible. So I really believe that I am indeed done on daily, except for just plotting this daily high low. I believe as long as price is trading above this daily high low, then daily is bullish. So I'm gonna drop down to the 4H time frame, and as you can also see, just zooming in more to this current structure, then we can really see that from that daily higher low, we created a 4H higher high, 4H higher low, and a 4H higher high, and that's where we are also currently are. So I'm gonna just mark this 4H higher low, and I do believe that we also have a little bit of some support holding price just right here. And we also do have some 4H higher high. And currently really anticipating something to clear, and most probably you can pick up from the story I just gave you. Anticipating that price is going to break and retest, or might even break and move to the top side and somehow react to this reaction zone. If it indeed breaks to the upside, then we're going to see price moving to the next zone. But if it doesn't, then we'll wait and see. We just have to be patient and nothing else. And I don't think 1 hour is telling any story, except for just right here where price has broken and retested this zone, and we can anticipate that it is gonna break above this one and break above the 4H higher high. But I'm gonna leave it at 4H and just show you that this is currently where we are, and that's all. Now back with GBP JPY, and I think if you haven't seen our previous video, you can go and watch it. But we were anticipating that price was going to push to the upside, and it clearly did. And we had this current level where price is at, which is currently holding price as resistance. We had it as a possible reaction zone, and in fact, sorry about that, and in fact price did break a little bit above, and we shall see what are the lower time frames, what is the lower time frame telling us. So if we do find a pure breakout to the upside, we might see the price going to the upside the longest of time. So we're gonna drop down to daily, and as you can see that daily has been bullish. I'm not even gonna focus on the previous side, because as you can see, we did have a bit of a resistance here and price did break and retest. And if I can focus on the current resistance just here, you will see that it also did have a bit of a break and price did try to pull back to retest on it, but I'm not so sure as to what happened. I think there was more bullish power than anything. So we do have a daily, just reading structure, we do have a daily high low just down here, and I'm not even gonna mark my daily high because price would keep on breaking above. So we'll drop down to 4H, and from there I'll just be reading the same thing. So reading on just what is happening here, right? We did have a bit of a double bottom here where price did push the upside, and now having to read structure. So this was a bit of a higher low. Price spoke to the upside, created a higher high, and as you can see, we had a higher low and a higher high, and we had a double bottom which also had a double bottom in it, and price broke above to create a higher low. So currently this is where we are. Having a 4H high low and having a bit of a resistance just up here, or not resistance, support. So please do note that this candle is wrong. The market is not there as we speak. The market is just up here, so I'm not so sure why did we have a candle doing this, but it doesn't make any difference. We might also just have price coming back to the and push it upside. And how am I gonna manage this pair should it continue to the upside? One thing about a trick that you can use for GJ is go for rounded numbers or psychological levels. So it would be 160, 176, I meant to say 176 000. We're gonna have 176 500, but I'm not gonna focus on that. I'm gonna focus on 17700, and then from there you can go to 178 and so on, 179, 180, up until we get to the next reaction zone, and I believe it's 188 if I'm not wrong, 186. So there's a possibility that price would just be doing this as it goes up, might hit this 176, come back to 175 500, go to 177, come back to 176 0, or it might also play around to the 176 500, come back here as it goes up. But yeah, that's what you can look into seeing. I'm just giving you this as a possible rejection or a possible short-term take profit, and that's all. Back with GBP USD, and I believe if you haven't watched this, please do reach out to the previous video and go and check out why is it that we have this current analysis. But I believe what I'm gonna give you right here would be most probably enough for you to take note of why we are buying. So about that, take note why we are buying. I'm gonna have this as a possible reaction zone, and I'm just gonna calculate some pips here. so it's not really bad. 94 pips. Is there something above that we might have to look into? But please do note, this one you need to thread carefully and very carefully, because there is CPI coming up next week, and yeah, we're not so sure what is going to happen. So with this one, you can see this was our lower high, now lower low, and price did break, creating a new high and a higher low. And I believe last week when we were analyzing this, did anticipate price was here. In fact, anticipated that price was gonna break to, we're just gonna recheck and go to the upside, but it didn't. In fact, it kept on pushing to the downside and caught people's stop losses out before it couldn't continue to the upside. So right now what we have this as our high low, and I believe, and that's the only thing I will hold on to at this point, for 4H high low and the resistance level or area just right here. So 4H has shown you to be bullish. There's nothing that we can get from the 4H anymore, and let us go down to 1H. I believe that's where you will be looking for your entries and everything. And from the 1H, all I can say is that you can see that from here we do have for a 1H higher low and a possible 1H resistance. So it would either have price coming back here, pushing to the top, or even coming in deeper for a double bottom on 1H and push to the top. And please do note, and once again, there is CPI and it could possibly invalidate such setups. So that's all. Back again with USD JPY, and starting right off on the weekly time frame, as you can see that we were bullish up until price broke and created a new low, and I believe it was a new low here, and from there now price is coming back to create higher lows and higher highs. And although it looks like we are, as long as we are trading between this and this low, that high and this low will still be quite bearish. But let me just drop down to the daily and let us restructure better from that time frame than any other. So then you will see that currently we do have 1 and 2 possible reaction zones. These are the 2. I will not touch them as they are a little bit far, so we're gonna have this 1 and 2, and from there I'm just gonna read the structure. So inside this you will see that price was bullish high low, and we had higher highs. Price came back, it was a lower high and a lower low, then we had a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and then higher low, and then higher high. And where we are currently, this is where price is, right? And I'm just literally just gonna draw support right here and resistance up there, but we're just gonna deal with that at this point just to show you that price is still holding on. Then I'm gonna drop down to 4H, and on 4H we're gonna read structure, as that's where we have clear structure there. So currently you will see that right now price was bullish with this as a higher low and a higher high, and we had a break of structure, created a low, a lower high, and a lower low, and price broke above and created a new high while we have a low right here. So I'm going to mark this too and say, as long as price is trading between this low and that high. And what is happening in between, I believe it's a 1 hour structure. So I'm also going to be marking this support just down here. Then from there also mark the resistance just closer to the high. So if price decides to break below the low, we would be looking for price to continue to the downside. But if it does continue to the upside to break above the high, then we would be considering it to hit the next possible reaction zone, which is 142.250. But for now, this is where we are, more or less in a bullish consolidation zone. And I will drop down to 1H now just to see what do we have on 1 hour. And as you can see, 1H is also a little bit consolidating, so there's nothing we can get from this pair at the moment, except to say that if price breaks to the downside, it will come back to drop, or if it breaks to the upside, it will come back and push to the upside. And that's all.